The day after I was diagnosed with a pregnancy, my husband died. Before he passed, my mother-in-law cried herself into a coma, and my father-in-law fell ill right after handling the funeral. The whole Ho family saw the baby in my belly as their only hope. I held back my heartbreak and prepared nourishing soup to send over, but outside the window, I caught them red-handed in their massive cover-up scheme. My husband isn't dead at all, he's just pretending so he can sneak off to be with his pregnant mistress. I lowered my eyes, resting my hands on my belly, and let out a quiet, knowing smile. They were right, this baby really is the only hope for the Ho family. 7 days ago, I found out I was pregnant. When my husband heard the news, he was over the moon and said he'd go to a temple out in the countryside to pray for us. He left early the next morning. Unexpectedly, halfway through, the horses and beasts disappeared along with the carriage, leaving no trace of their lives. When the bad news reached the mansion, Grandma was so shocked she fainted on the spot and wouldn't wake up. Her condition was really serious. I also had complications with my pregnancy. The doctor said I had to rest completely. Grandpa was left alone to barely handle the funeral arrangements. After everything was settled, I planned to make some nourishing soup to go visit them. The young doctor said, "Miss, you'd better stay in bed these days." Peach quickly stepped forward to support her, softly trying to persuade her. It's okay. When an elder in the family is sick, it's only right that I take care of them personally. The ladies were all waiting outside the door. When they saw me arrive, they got ready to greet me respectfully. I waved my hand, signaling them to stay quiet. Walking to the courtyard entrance, I deliberately slowed my pace. The in-laws were resting, so making too much noise wouldn't be appropriate. I quietly followed the corridor inside. The door wasn't closed, and I heard voices from within. Just as I was about to raise my hand to knock, a sentence I heard froze me in place. Wenshu said the woman was pregnant and wanted to stay there until the baby was born before coming back. That was the mother-in-law's voice. "Have you cleaned up all the traces?" My father-in-law's voice came again, low and firm. I absolutely couldn't let Qingyuan find out the truth. Standing outside the door, my whole body felt ice cold. A mix of sorrow and anger nearly choking me. I even felt a dull pain in my stomach. I closed my eyes tightly and took a deep breath. No messing up now, no panicking at this moment. I squeezed Batao's hand gently and quietly pushed him around the corner of the alley. Then I let go and walked back to the door with normal footsteps. "Ma'am, take it slow and watch your step, the floor is slippery." Li Tao raised his voice on purpose so everyone inside could hear. Not long after, the steward came out. I bowed with a gentle smile. "Today, I'm here to pay a visit." Many servants in the room were watching closely. I couldn't afford to slip up. "I'm feeling much better now. You're still dealing with the after effects of pregnancy," my mother-in-law say. "So there's no need for you to come back and forth every day. Just stay home and rest." "That's my answer," Mother said. "No worries, Mother," I softly answer, playing my card of daughter-in-law. "Your daughter-in-law is young and in good health," the doctor said, "as long as she doesn't worry. Everything will be fine. You both need to take care of yourselves. The family still relies on you two." Those words were so thoughtful. After they finished their soup, I was cleaning up the dishes when I suddenly stopped, lowering my head. My eyes started to well up. Luckily, my mother-in-law noticed something was wrong and asked me with concern what had happened. I shook my head, trying to hide what I was feeling, but the tears were already falling, dripping onto the back of my hand. "Mom, Dad," I whispered, using a handkerchief to dab at my eyes, my voice a little hoarse. When she left so suddenly, I've been dreaming about him every night lately. When I got to this part, I stopped. Like I was too upset to keep talking. My mother-in-law's eyes welled up too, and she reached out to hold my hand. I took a deep breath and went on, saying, "The way he looked in my dreams felt so real, but when I wake up, it's like I can't hold on to anything." I bit my lip, like I was gathering a lot of courage before speaking. "I want to ask for a portrait of Wenshu to keep in the room. It'll help ease the longing." Saying that, I gave a bitter smile, looked down at my belly, and my voice got even softer. "I want this unborn child to see their biological father." The room fell silent for a moment. My father-in-law glanced at my mother-in-law, who turned away to wipe her tears. I kept going. I wanted to paint it myself, but the doctor said my baby's health is unstable, and I shouldn't overexert myself. So I had to ask Lord Erlang for help. After thinking it over for a long time, his expression kept changing. Maybe he was scheming, or maybe my words moved him. I lowered my head, waiting for his answer, nervously twisting the corner of my clothes. Finally, he nodded. "Don't worry about the portrait, just focus on resting. We'll send someone to deliver Wenshu's portrait later." I looked up and gave a grateful yet slightly sad smile. After my father went back inside, the painting was delivered shortly. I unfolded it and spread it out on the table, studying it for a long time. In the picture, Gu Wengsu was wearing a light-colored robe, looking handsome, with a smile on his lips, just like how I remembered him. Who wouldn't praise her as having a limitless future? When the marriage decree came down, I was out socializing and kept overhearing some really harsh comments. After we got married, he was incredibly gentle. So gentle, in fact, that even after 3 years of no children, he never once pressured me or said a harsh word. I felt guilty and offered to take a concubine. But he refused, seriously promising that he'd rather have no other woman in his life for as long as we live. His sweet talk was so convincing I almost forgot. My father is the prime minister. A key advisor to the emperor, everyone at court respects and fears him. I gathered my thoughts, rolled up the scroll again, then spread out the paper and ink to write a letter. I handed the sealed letter to Luoluo and told him to send someone to deliver it back to the Lin family. To give it to my father in person. Sitting by the window, I watched the begonia tree in the courtyard that Gu Wengshu had planted with his own hands, gently rubbing my belly. Gu Wengshu, since you're already dead, just don't ever come back. Gu Wengshu was very secretive. A month later, my father finally sent word that they had caught the person down south. It would take 2 or 3 days to get there by car after reading the letter. I sat by the window for a while. The next day, I started acting out a scene with Bitao. That night, Bitao and I stayed up until dawn before finally going to sleep. When I got up, I deliberately rubbed my eyes red to look like I'd been crying all night. When the delivery guy saw me like that, he quietly started gossiping that the young madam had been up all night again, secretly shedding tears in front of the young master's portrait. This went on for several days straight. The doctors gave a few diagnoses, but they were all pretty much the same. Madam, this longing has become a sickness. Love has taken a toll on my health. After word got out, everyone in the household praised my deep feelings. When my in-laws heard about it, they couldn't sit still and came to visit me in person. Leaning against the headboard without any makeup, my face pale and dark circles under my eyes. When they entered the room, I tried to sit up. But my mother-in-law pushed me back down. Lie back down, she said, holding my hand and shedding tears. It's only been a few days. How did you get so thin? I forced a smile. My father-in-law stood nearby, looking at my haggard face, his brows tightly furrowed. He seemed like he wanted to say something, but held back. Finally letting out a long sigh, I lowered my head, tears rolling down my cheeks. My voice was hoarse and sounded really weak. Mom, Dad? This whole Hao mansion is filled with his presence. When I close my eyes, it's him I see when I open them. Still him. I'm struggling to keep it together, hiding my tears, and even my mother-in-law is crying. Her hands shaking nonstop. She seems even more upset than I am, almost making me break down. But I slowly calm myself, lower my head, and rub my belly. For the sake of the only bloodline between Wang Xuan and me, I have to stay strong and take good care of myself. This kid's the only thing he left behind. If we lose this kid too, I'll have nothing left to hold on to. My in-laws kept nodding in agreement. I paused for a moment like I was making a big decision, then said, So, I want to go back to my parents' place for a while. Suddenly, my mother-in-law looked up, a flicker of something golden flashing across her face. But the moment of panic disappeared just as fast. Seeing her like that, I thought she looked like someone caught red-handed. Her voice was gentle, with a hint of guilt. Your health comes first. Going back to your parents to recover sounds like a good idea. Your mother carefully and responsibly agreed, her tone very serious. She pleaded with you to take good care of yourself and not to worry about anything else. The child in your womb is the last hope for our family. If it's a boy, we will make him the heir. If it's a girl, we'll find a son-in-law to bring into the family. Everything in the household will belong to this child. I was so moved that my eyes filled with tears. The in-laws gave me a few more health tips before getting up to leave. Their footsteps gradually faded away. I leaned against the pillow, wiped the tears off my face, and let out a silent, bitter laugh. Gu Wengsu. Now that I've gotten rid of your excuse, there's another set of in-laws. Just now, they said everything in the mansion belongs to this child, but they forgot you have another woman outside. And she's carrying your child too. When that kid is born and you bring the mother and child back to the Ho mansion, will there still be a place for my child? There's no need to hide, and I'm not afraid to face it. I looked down at my belly and gently rubbed it, whispering to myself, this child. After my dad took care of me himself for 3 days, I saw Gu Wengsu's car parked at the gate of the house. I lifted the curtain and from a distance, I saw what was happening inside the yard. Gu Wengsu was carefully helping a heavily pregnant woman walk around the yard. The woman whispered a few words, and he bent down to listen. The look on his face was incredibly gentle, and there was a smile on his lips, a smile I had never seen before, in front of me. He was always calm and refined. I couldn't believe he would still smile like that. I lowered my eyes and calmly ordered the people behind me to move immediately. My father had assigned over 100 guards, all retired soldiers from the army. They surrounded the place silently, and in no time they had the courtyard completely sealed off. A few screams came from inside, then everything went quiet. After confirming that the situation was under control, Bitao carefully helped me out of the carriage. As I stepped through the gate, Gu Wengsu was on his knees in the dirt, held down by 2 guards. The woman beside him, heavily pregnant, was also restrained, her face drained of color. Gu Wengsu was trembling with disbelief when he saw me, his eyes wide like he'd seen a ghost. Honestly, that expression kind of made my day and wiped away all the exhaustion from the trip. I slowly curved my lips into a smile. Long time no see. Gu Wengshu's eyes widened even more, his lips trembling. I wasn't about to listen to his excuses. I gave Bitao a subtle look and he got the hint. He pulled the prepared pill out of his pocket and walked over to the woman. She recoiled in fear, but the guards held her down firmly. Bitao grabbed her chin, shoved the pill into her mouth, poured some water down her throat, and forced her to swallow. After feeding the woman, Bitao took out another pill and came over to Gu Wengshu. He clenched his teeth tightly and turned his head, refusing to cooperate. Bitao tried twice without success, then frowned slightly. With practiced skill, he grabbed Gu Wengshu's chin and pushed hard. There was a crack as Gu Wengshu's jaw popped out. He let out a painful cry, mouth hanging open. Saliva dripping from the corner of his lips, Bitao shoved the pill into his mouth, then stuck his finger deep inside to make sure he swallowed before letting go. Another crack sounded. I pushed his chin back into place. Gu Wengshu lay on the ground trying to vomit, but nothing came out. The servants had already brought a rattan chair outside and laid out a soft cushion. I leaned against the chair back, looking down at him. Gu Wengshu's face was pale, veins bulging on his forehead. His voice shaky and hoarse. I smiled warmly, my tone gentle. Of course it's a deadly poison. I'm not lying, it really is poison. I plan to just end it with one clean slash, then set everything on fire to wipe it all out quickly and leave no trouble behind. But I still had some questions to ask, so I took the medicine to be sure. The poison came from my father. It hit 2 hours later. Before that, he wouldn't die. Guo Wengshu froze for a moment. Then his eyes turned bloodshot. Suddenly, he jumped up from the ground and lunged at me. He hadn't even taken 2 steps before the guard slammed him back down, but he still fought like crazy. Eyes full of hatred, like he wanted to tear me apart. Seeing him like that, I coldly ordered, "Break his legs." My voice was steady, as if the man in front of me wasn't my husband. The guards didn't hesitate. The sharp crack echoed, followed by his painful groan. He collapsed on the ground, cold sweat pouring down, unable to stand anymore. I finally felt a bit relieved, like a weight was lifted off my chest. I turned my gaze to the trembling woman by the wall. She was cornered, with 2 guards holding her up, her pregnant body swaying unsteadily. Her face was streaked with tears, and her fingers gripped her collar so hard her knuckles had gone white. "Your name is Shen Qinghua," I said, looking at her calmly. She was a distant relative who came to the city at 15 to seek help from the Gu family 3 years ago. She got married and moved out beyond the city limits. But in the 3 years since I came in, I've never seen you. You're supposed to come back during holidays. This is what Dad found out by digging around. The so-called marriage was just a cover-up the Gu family set up. They gave the guy some money to marry her in name only. That guy took the cash to keep trouble away and never shows up. Where's your husband? So you went out of town, huh? I chuckled and shifted my gaze from her face to Gu Wengshu. I thought your husband was this guy. She stiffened all over. Gu Wengshu leaned on the ground, and Wen Yan suddenly looked up. I smiled again, my tone much softer, like we'd been chatting casually for months. Her lips trembled and she couldn't get a full sentence out. I stared at her noticeably swollen belly, taking it all in. Looks like it's about 8 months, almost time to give birth. As soon as those words were spoken, the courtyard fell silent except for heavy breathing and soft gasps. 8 months? The baby in my belly is only 3 months along. I suddenly laughed out loud and slowly looked at Gu Wengshu, motioning Tao to take her inside. Bitao understood. It was a family about to marry off a daughter. Shen Xingwan was pushed into the room. She struggled a few times, glanced back at the man, but Bitao shoved her roughly and she stumbled inside. Wen stood behind, silent and tense. I was afraid the next scene might scare her, if her belly saw blood and she got startled. It could cause an early birth, which would be a real mess. I definitely didn't want her to give birth right now. The yard fell completely silent. I slowly walked up to Gu Wengshu and stopped in front of him. He was slumped on the ground. His legs twisted at weird angles, sweat pouring down his face. His eyes were full of hatred as he glared at me. I looked down, lifted my foot, and stepped on his fingers. He screamed in pain, trying to pull his hand back, but I pressed down harder. My foot kept crushing his knuckles, making a crunching sound against my shoe. His screams were unbearably agonizing. He said my name. Bitao took a quick step forward and slapped her hard across the face. Gu Wengshu's face twisted. Blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, half his face swelling up fast. You actually dared to call out the name of the young mistress? Bitao sneered. The heir of a noble family in the capital is dead. Now, in front of us, you're just a merchant named Lin Shu. And your wife is Shen Qingwen. I lowered my head, staring at her. A year ago, I offered to take a concubine, but you refused. Gu Wengshu lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Silent. And now, a year later, it's all because of this woman. You don't even care about your parents, wife, or kids, and you still want to play dead? I paused for a moment. What exactly are you trying to do? I'm really struggling and confused. I just don't get it. I gave him a fair, straightforward chance. If he wanted a concubine, I was willing to handle it for him. If he didn't like my choice, he could find someone else. I honestly don't consider myself a jealous person. I never stood in his way, but he insisted on saying no, had to reject me. Had to put on this act like it was some deep, endless love. Then she ruined it all with his own hands. Trampled all my dignity in the dirt. His expression kept changing, but he still didn't say a word. Looking at her like that, I found it kind of ridiculous. A crazy, laughable thought popped into my head. But I still asked, could it be that you really love her? The woman felt that her true identity was being wronged. Finally, Gu Wengsu spoke up. He struggled to lift his head, blood smearing his mouth, his eyes full of mockery. What do you know? His voice is hoarse. I've seen plenty of women like you, all from good families. Good with manners, but fake and ruthless behind the scenes. Honestly, he's just a toy to them. I would never let someone I love become a toy. I watched him coldly and realized that's how it is. To him, all my compromises, my care, all the effort to keep our relationship alive was just a show. You could have refused the engagement. There are plenty of noble families in the capital. I'm not desperate to marry him. He sneered and laughed, reopening old wounds. You think I want to marry you? It's my parents forcing me, threatening my life tonight to make me marry you. Suddenly I find it kind of ironic. What a ridiculous reason. You're the only heir of the Hou family. I looked at him, my gaze icy cold. If you risk your life, what can they really do to you? Probably nothing. Like I said, you don't have the guts to stand up to your parents, don't have the guts to divorce me, and don't have the guts to bring someone into the family. All you do is explode in anger or hide here like a scared little turtle, lowering your eyes while looking pitiful. You're nothing but a coward. I watched him coldly. Suddenly, Gu Wengsu looked up and forced a weak smile, his voice softening as he begged, Qingyuan, this is my fault. I admit I was wrong. I'll go back with you today. From now on, we'll be like we used to. Okay? He looked at me, tears welling up in his eyes, just like the fake apologies he used to give me before. I stared at him calmly and said, Gu Wengsu, you're dead tomorrow. His smile froze instantly. His face twisted with rage as he glared at me like he wanted to kill me. You thought you could walk away unscathed? He ground those words out through clenched teeth. You'll definitely get your revenge, but when that time comes, you'll be infamous and die a miserable death. I looked up at him, but his eyes showed no emotion. I was the one who killed Dao Ye, Lin Shu. So what does that have to do with the heir of the Hou family? His expression went completely stiff. Didn't the Hou family heir die a long time ago? I tilted my head slightly, a bit confused. The funeral was already over, everyone in the capital knows that. Gu Wengsu opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. I pulled my gaze back and turned into the room, behind me. I heard his hoarse scream, unclear, like a curse or maybe a desperate plea for life. I didn't look back. Inside the room, there was someone else. As soon as I stepped in, Shen Qingwan was there, crying and struggling to kneel in front of me. Her belly was so big that when she knelt down, her whole body wobbled like she might fall. I had to pretend to take the throne with a hand gesture before I could finally settle. Bitao glanced at me and I gently shook my head, signaling no help was needed. Madam, I really have no choice. From the moment he clung to me, my fate wasn't my own. I have no power. No standing, I can't even say no. I just want to survive, madam. She was crying so hard I could see her shoulders trembling. Her tear-streaked face looked so pitiful, like a delicate flower in the rain. I studied her, not really sure what I was feeling. I finally spoke slowly. You're a poor soul too. I'm not gonna kill you. I paused for a moment and said, you've got to play along with me for this scene. After I finished, she looked confused, her tear-streaked face full of bewilderment. The door behind us opened and someone walked in. Shen Qingwan looked up and froze. Deng Shui was stunned too. The person looked about 80% like Gu Wengsu. I saw the shock on Shen Qingwan's face and said calmly, don't be afraid, pointing at the person by the door and speaking slowly, word by word. From now on, she's your wife, Lin Shu, got it? This guy is the one my dad worked so hard to find because he looks just like Gu Wengsu. Just a bit of facial touch-up and it'll be him for sure. After all, if news spreads that Gu Wengsu is dead, my in-laws will definitely get suspicious. If they find out their son really died, the first person they'll suspect is me. I absolutely can't take that risk. I stopped walking and glanced back at the tightly shut door. Gu Wengsu once said something right. People like us are the best at acting. Shen Qingwan knows too much. The only reason she's alive today is because of the baby she's carrying. My last bit of mercy is to make sure no harm comes to the mother. We'll deal with things after the child is born. I hurried back to the Hu residence. After getting back to the capital, I went to the temple alley for recovery. When I arrived, my in-laws were just getting dinner ready. Their faces were rosy, totally different from the sickly look they had half a month ago. I hadn't even been gone 2 weeks and they were already fully recovered. I glanced away and lowered my eyes. Dad, Mom, I stepped forward, my voice weak and a bit dazed. Your daughter-in-law is back. My mother-in-law put down her chopsticks, her face lighting up with a big smile. Jingyuan's back. Come sit and eat. I stood by the table but didn't sit. I looked down, hesitated for a long moment, and finally spoke. Dad, there's something about your daughter I'm not sure if I should say. My father-in-law shot me a look. What is it? I pressed my lips tighter, lowering my voice. That day, when I went out of town to pray and was coming back, I think I saw Wenshu. As soon as I said that, the mood at the table went ice cold. My mother-in-law's face changed instantly, and she dropped her chopsticks with a loud clatter, letting out a startled shout. My father-in-law didn't say anything, but his knuckles tightened. I kept my head down, pretending not to notice. That day, I lifted the curtain in the car and looked out, catching a glimpse of him. My voice was a little shaky, mixing hope with unease. He just flashed by on the roadside, and when I looked again, he was gone. Not sure if I was imagining things or if I left the story hanging on purpose. After a moment of silence, my father-in-law cleared his throat, trying to keep his voice steady. You must have mistaken him. Wenshu's already gone. You're just missing him too much, seeing him everywhere. My grandma quickly agreed, speaking really fast. You must be seeing things. There are tons of people who look alike in this world. My eyes are sharp. But your face still shows you're not convinced. Didn't we fail to find a body back then? I looked up. My eyes red. Maybe he's still alive. The old man was silent for a moment, then tapped his fingers on the table. How about this? He finally said, his tone steady. I'll send someone to search outside the city, whatever the outcome. At least it shows we care. You rest first, don't overthink it. You're carrying a child after all. I forced a smile, exchanged a few polite words, and then took my leave. The autumn breeze carried a gentle hint of early fall. This whole thing was just to lure them into confirming that Advisor Shu was still alive. When their people arrived and saw their son lively and well, living a peaceful life with Shen Qingwan, they'd naturally report back that he was safe. The in-laws, convinced their son was fine, wouldn't suspect a thing if news of his death ever came. They'd just chalk it up to bad luck and never think it had anything to do with me. The Hou family stability would remain untouched. Day by day, I kept thinking about Erlang, who sent people every day to deliver the tonic. A month later, Shen Qingwan gave birth to a son, but the news from my in-laws was that she had a daughter. I got this news through Lin Shu. After reading the letter, my father-in-law was left speechless, and my mother-in-law sighed, saying all Wenshu's effort only resulted in a girl. My father-in-law gave her a displeased look and she shook her head, clearly showing her disdain. She said it was better to have a daughter, that way. They could say Wenshu was saved by this woman and had a daughter, posing no threat to Qing Yuan. So the Lin family wouldn't have any complaints. My mother-in-law sighed again like she was remembering something. Wenshu Shin said things were fine and that he'd come back after the kid turns 2. But who knows how life's really going for him over there. My father-in-law scoffed, saying, for his screw-ups. How many people have we had to pull strings and risk offending powerful officials to cover up for him? These words were passed to me by my Ren Yunfeng. At the time, I was sitting at the table writing a letter that say, Lin Shu to switch the babies and send away the boy, then tell them that Shen Qingwan, seriously ill, passed away while she was giving birth. Lin Shu was deeply devoted to his wife, so he naturally chose to stay by her side. After sealing the letter, I had Bi Tao send it out. Life went on quietly. My mother-in-law often came over to keep me company and chat, sitting with me for whole afternoons. Your dad and I had even already picked out names. One time, she took my hand with a gentle smile. The boy was called Jiheng, and the girl was called Jiwei. I obediently lowered my head and whispered, it's all up to mother. Every time she went back, she'd bring lots of nice things, giving gifts pretty often, like she was trying to make up for something. I understood but pretended not to, always politely thanking her. When I gave birth, the midwives were all brought in from the neighbors, arranged carefully by my father. Every outsider was doted on for a whole day and night, going through all kinds of hardships, until finally, we heard the baby cry. Miss, a wealthy young lady, Bai Tao brought the child over, her voice full of joy. I took my daughter in my arms, looking at her little face, tears streaming uncontrollably. After tidying up, I gently rocked her. Bai Tao came closer and whispered, the Marquis read the letter and left for the south overnight. I nodded without saying more. 7 days later, my father-in-law returned looking worn out, his hair more than half white. By evening, news spread that my mother-in-law had suffered a stroke. Days went by, and I struggled to keep going with my weak body. With support from Bi Tao, I went to the main room. The old man was bent over, looking like he'd aged 10 years. The old lady was half paralyzed in bed, motionless, her eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. Both of them looked ashen, as if they'd seen the worst. When they saw me come in, the old man nodded, but the old lady didn't even glance my way. Truth is, she didn't have the strength to look at anyone. I pretended to be worried and asked about her condition, then told the servants to take good care of her. That's the kind of reaction you'd expect from a mother who just lost her son. Not long after, the old man handed me a memorial he had written, a formal request for a title. It read, the Marquis's family has no heirs left. His son died young. Luckily, his daughter-in-law gave birth to a girl, the last of the bloodline. They're begging the emperor to show mercy and grant her the title of princess. The old man played this move smartly. There's no way the marquise's estate will be restored. I decided to take the initiative to ask for a truce and swap for a princess title. That way. I could also stay in the good graces of the neighbors. I put it in a memorial to the emperor, and he approved it quickly. The news was sent back, and 6 months later he passed away. I was in charge of handling the funeral arrangements. At the Howe family estate in Mainan, I was kneeling in front of the forest holding my child, mourning. No one knew that I had planned all of this. After my father-in-law passed away, my mother-in-law's condition worsened. She was already unstable and without her husband. She completely fell apart. She stayed in bed all day, not talking to anyone. A year later, I had to organize another funeral. The main gate of the Howe mansion had white lanterns hung up. I stood in the corridor watching my daughter, Bitao, squatting on the ground playing with her. She took short steps and jumped into Bitao's arms, laughing brightly. Watching her, my heart was filled with tenderness. The Princess of Zhaozhou County is the best future I could secure for you. With this status, you'll have someone to rely on for life. No matter how much I sacrifice, it's worth it. I reached out my hand. Calling her over, "Mommy's here." She heard my voice, turned her head, opened her tiny mouth with her first teeth and called out in a baby voice, "Mama!"